Greetings, geeks and nerds, I'm Ladies Universe, I'm White and Nerdy, and welcome back to a new installment of SuperJune. At this time, we're heading into the comic book territory with a series that has mixed opinions. Most people hate it, but most people say that it's not as bad as it could be, and they even recommend titles from it. DC's New 52 line. Depending on where you've been during the New 52, your opinions will range from it's god awful to there are some series that were pretty damn interesting, and a lot of people say that there's a lot of series in the New 52 that were really damn interesting. And especially something like Batgirl, DC's what would it be like like DC's Western Tales, etc. That were pretty damn decent all the way through. And such is the case with the celebration of Superman. For those of you that don't know, Superman first appeared in Action Comics number 1 back in 1938 and had been around ever since then. And we have this to thank for it. A retelling of the Action Comics line told by Grant Morrison with illustrations by Grant Morrison. So, is this the epitome of where Superman first appeared? Well, for a lot of you that probably are going to be very confused, it's best me to say that Superman didn't have a lot of his abilities that he'd best known for, especially not when he first appeared. Yes, he had super strength, but he couldn't fly. He could only jump. And Grant Morrison is a man that sometimes loves to go back to the Golden and Silver Age of comic books just to get some new ideas from them. For example, look at his Batman run. He brought back a lot of things from the Golden and Silver Age during his entire time writing Batman. Until he later on reinvented Batman with the Batman and Robin storyline, but we'll talk about that. And how it's critically acclaimed. But we're not here talking about Batman, sorry Bruce, but today we are talking about, and this month only, we're talking about Superman and the entire Super family. So, how does this retelling of Action Comics number 1 basically do to Big Blue Boy Scout justice? Well, let's dive into either Action Comics or Superman Action Comics. I don't know which one it is. Number 1, and see how Grant Morrison tackles basically the retelling first story of Superman. The cover is pretty damn interesting and it catches the eye with as colorful as it is. The blur of light, Akira style, Superman jumping across from car to car, and bullets bouncing off of him. It's a pretty damn good cover, all things considering. Although I kind of like the effect that Rag Morales did to try to capture the Akira, infamous motorcycle scene with the strobing light. Very interesting stuff. And in case you're wondering why Superman's not wearing his iconic outfit, it's the first appearance, and also when Superman first appeared, his costumes throughout various incarnations kept changing. But I do like this one. It reminds me a lot of Supergirl's design from Superman the Animated Series. A quite simple and complex design that I really do like. We open up to a bunch of shady people in Metropolis making a business deal with each other until a figure basically walks in and says that he is their worst nightmare. That's pretty much the police are called to involve in all of this. And of course, who else should be there but the Man of Steel himself, Superman, holding up one of the people hostage in front of the police. Just as soon as he makes a full confession to someone who still believes the law works the same for the rich and the poor alike. Meanwhile, the guy is just begging Superman not to drop him in any case. And of course, he claims that this ain't Superman, while someone is screaming to someone to save him. In the reference to Smallville. I see what you did there. As this is titled Superman vs. the City of Tomorrow, and I gotta admit, the nice little Action Comics nod, especially Superman breaking out of the chain, is a very nice nod to Action Comics, so I really do like what they did there. As the story continues, in the name of God, you people are supposed to protect me, sir. Put the gentleman down or we will shoot. Put the man down. Still won't talk. Okay. You had your chance, Grant Morgan. No! And immediately Superman jumps off with him, only to save him at the last second, probably scaring the piss out of the man the entire way down, as of course he was never intended to kill him. Nobody's so big they can't be taken down a peg or two. I can keep this up as long as you like, mister. Yeah. I'm guilty. What do you want me to say? I use illegal sheep labor. No safety standards. I breed city official. I lied. I lied to everyone. You know the deal, Metropolis. Treat people right, otherwise it's better visit from me. Superman, defender of truth, guardian of justice, man of steel, does not like when people lie to him. And of course, Superman, using his super speed, tells the police to catch him if he can while bullets are bouncing off of him. And of course, the city tries to take him down. Why, who was behind all this? Why, of course, no one should expect any less from our dear good villain, Lex Luthor. Well, give me a reason of men like Superman. How can I call him that? It was your daughter who's christened the creature General Lane. Notice how I didn't refuse the name. Grant Morrison seemed uneasy, anxious to help out, wouldn't you say? Galaxy had the whole new Moravia Triangle earmarked for development, so we're free to hit hard. You boasted you could deliver Superman and you could have until 8 p.m. Beyond that time, your courageous consultancy fee is more than we're prepared to accept. Am I clear, Luther? But I love my country, and in return, all I ask is information, Sam. I can prove it to you once and for all. A monster walked among us. So, yes, that's General Lane working with Lex Luthor. As the building is about to be torn down, Superman hears people inside of it calling for help. And of course, Lex Luthor just does not give a fuck. As Superman manages up to save them and toss a wrecking ball far away from them, telling the people to get away. But of course, Superman is still a wanted man on the law as they have tanks on the streets ready to kill people! Somehow that Blade clip was so fitting in this. Like, I'm dead serious. They attempted to shoot an electrical-infused net at innocent civilians. Which of course Superman blocked off, but then decided to use the wrecking ball to teach the tank a lesson. Maybe the tank lied to him. You know how he doesn't like lying. As of course he ends up saving people. And of course the public is very interested in him. Get out of here. We'll cover you. Can you really jump over the Metropolis Tower? Never tried from here. Stand back. We'll see. And thanks. As Superman takes right off. But of course, is instantly surrounded because of the police officer. We lost him. 1 minute he was there and the next. We used to have laws in this town, like gravity. You remember gravity, right? But of course, Superman ends up landing on a rooftop where he quickly changes his clothes, and is caught by one of his neighbors. No, not his mother, one of his neighbors. In this incarnation, Clark at a young age is becoming Superman. What's more so is that he's living in Metropolis. And of course his neighbor asks him about what all the commotion is about, as he hands her over some money that will help her out. Either that or it's rent money. Either that or Clark is taking money from criminals, which is okay by my part. And we see Jimmy and Miss Lane, or Lois Lane, doing some investigation work upon a bullet train, or a monorail. As Clark knows that there's something bad that's going to happen with that monorail, but Lois and Jimmy aren't interested. Instead, they would rather see what's going on. Even Jimmy trying to beg Lois to take a look at Clark's text message to them, but of course she refuses, as Superman quickly enters right in. And the train is held up by the Spirit? What? I mean, seriously, this guy looks like Will Eisner the Spirit. Whatever. Now pay attention. You got something to say? You say it to this. As Superman immediately stops the monorail, which of course tried to stop really quickly, and for the Man of Steel, he tried to stop it way too soon, causing a bunch of destruction and injuries in his wake, even though he did a good job and managed to save a lot of people. And of course, news of this comes back to us, Luthor. Has anyone else bothered to look at the sky? There's something past the orbit of Neptune, getting closer. You! You knew this was gonna happen! You endangered my daughter's life, you maniac! I don't care how smart you are, or well connected you think you are. The brown tree snake, introduced to the U.S. territory of Guam right after World War II, caused dozens of indigenous birds and reptiles to become extinct. The cane toad is sent to Australia as its pest control agent. Decontaminated local biodiversity, non-native strains will destroy entire ecological systems. So Luther keeps talking nonsense to General Wayne, who looked at him like, "The hell are you talking about, man?" But aimed the world's biggest bullet at the head of the very help of the disgruntled businessman. You wanted Superman, General Wayne, dead or alive. Behold, I give you Superman. Stay in touch. As yet, we believe that Superman is officially dead after he caused the train, thus ending the first issue of the new Action comic. It would have been something if instead of Superman, you would have found Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2 at the end of that thing, barely staying alive after he attempted to save the train when Doc Ock basically, wrecked it. Anyways, that was Action Comics New 52 number 1, Superman Action Comics, and it's pretty damn good, all things considering. It's not one of the greatest runs ever, but I do love how Grant Morrison manages to capture everything that people love about Superman. His humanity, the way that Metropolis stands up for him, the way that he will stand up for the littlest people at the biggest moments. He is a character that has a lot of heart behind him, and Grant Morrison managed to capture that immediately. While the first issue is okay at best, it really ends on a massive cliffhanger of holy crap, did he just die in his very first appearance. Very good stuff, and Grant Morrison is one of the best Superman writers out there, especially writing, give me a minute here, especially writing All-Star Superman, which was a series that won an Eisner Award. So the dude really understands Superman. So if you really can find it, check out Superman New 52. Or Action Comics New 52. You might like it. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm waiting for a download and keep you on. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified every single time I make an upload, and follow me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. But we're not done with the Man of Steel and comic adaptations, as we're still sticking with Grant Morrison, but this time with a really weird twist of events. Superman had a lot of enemies, and perhaps one of the ones that people most know, especially since I looked at the animated adaptation, is the Elite. Well, what would happen if Superman faced off against another team of heroes, technically villains in the universe, and kind of tangle with them? No, I'm not talking about the Elite. I'm talking about the Authority. Till next time.